Top five. Top five. Top five. Top five. What is going on, YouTube-averse? John Stanek from Johnny Radio here, bringing you another Top 5 on this glorious Top 5 Friday, and I couldn't be more excited than to be talking to you about one of my favorite bands of all time, my second favorite to be exact, Led Zeppelin. Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, John Paul Jones, John Bonham. Man, what an amazing lineup and what an amazing band. They accomplished so much in such a short period of time, and we're talking the top 5 albums. So here we go. Let's get right into it. At number 5, Led Zeppelin 2. And yes, I don't own this LP as of yet, so I'm not holding it up, but man, 1969's the opening track alone, Whole Lotta Love, one of the best openers to any rock album ever. Then you got Ramble On, What Is and What Should Never Be, the Lemon Song, the closing track, Bring It On Home, is just one of the coolest blues rock explosions ever, and they just really capitalized on the sound that they had from their debut earlier that year and just really blew up. This is the one that really got them into the stratosphere globally. So that's at my number 5. Now at number 4, Led Zeppelin 3. Yes, Zeppelin, kind of full of themselves, and they're one of the few bands who can really pull that off because they were just amazing individually and as a band. And this album, after Led Zeppelin 2, continued to expound on the sound that they had already created, but also going in different territories. Of course, on Led Zeppelin 1 and 2, of course, they had some acoustic folk rockers, so no surprise here, but this one had a whole side B full of acoustic sounding songs like Gallows Pole, Thank You, one of my favorites, Bron-Y-Aur Stomp, which is really cool. But then you also had on side A songs like Immigrant Song, which was something like you'd never heard before, just really kind of like alternative rock of its time. This came out in 1970. And then, of course, the huge blues masterpiece, Since I've Been Loving You, one of my favorite Zeppelin songs of all time. So you gotta have Led Zeppelin 3 on your list, a classic. So that was at my number 4. Now at number 3, Physical Graffiti from 1975. This double LP is Zeppelin at the peak of their powers. I mean, just incredible. At the time that this came out, they were packing out not just stadiums, but literal castles in England, and just deservedly so. You've got In My Time of Dying, you've got Custard Pie, you've got Kashmir, of course, one of the greatest songs ever created in the history of mankind. Just incredible. Another one of my favorites, Trampled Underfoot, where you got John Paul Jones doing some cool organ stuff. I mean, all 4 of these guys were amazing musicians and contributed so much to one of the best bands ever. And I say they're my second favorite, right under the Beatles. And I mean, really, it's a close call because these guys are incredible. So that's at my number 3. Now, guys, at number 2, Led Zeppelin, or otherwise known as One, their first album, the classic debut. I mean, just look at the artwork on this. You knew that you were in for something spectacular just seeing this. And as Keith Moon famously said, like a Led Zeppelin going over is and that's what stuck as the name of the band. But man, coming on the scene with songs like Dazed and Confused, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, Good Times, Bad Times, You Shook Me. I mean, you name it. This album is incredible, and this is really the introduction that I had to the band, so it has a special place in my heart, especially for Dazed and Confused. I mean, just the first time I heard that song was just like, man, where is this coming from? This rocks harder than anything in current day. And that was back in the late 80s when I heard this for the first time. And it still stands the test of time as being one of the best rock albums ever. So that's at my number 2. Now at number 1... it had to be Zoso, otherwise known as Led Zeppelin 4, their 4th album. This came out in 1971, and I mean, just every single song on here is a classic. You've got Black Dog, the just amazing opener. You've got Rock and Roll. You've got The Battle of Evermore. You've got Stairway to Heaven. Unbelievable masterpiece. Even if that was the only good song on here, this would still be a classic. Then you've got Misty Mountain Hop, you've got Going to California, Four Sticks, and of course, my favorite, When the Levee Breaks, one of the best closers to any album, and just the coolest drum sound of all time. And that's really saying something, because John Bonham, I mean, the best drummer ever, Robert Plant, the best vocalist ever, Jimmy Page, arguably in the top 3 of best guitarists ever, plus one of the best producers of all time. I mean, and then John Paul Jones, just a jack of all trades, but definitely an incredible bass player, incredible organist, incredible arranger. I mean, these guys could do it all. And yeah, that's my top 5, guys. So I'd love to see in the comments below, leave me your top 5. I'd love to see the order. Is there something that didn't make my top 5 that you think is like, whoa, this guy is crazy? Please let me know. I'd love to see it. And guys, there's so much more coming. Every Friday, there's a top 5. Every week, we've got other stuff coming. I'm really excited for next week. It's going to be a surprise, but keep watching. And as always, Viva la Vinyl. So please click like and subscribe by clicking the Johnny Radio icon to the right. There's also some other content for your viewing pleasure. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.